Welcome to another episode of ELEV8 by Mdina Partners, today called Behind the Scenes, a Managing Director's Insights to a Growth-Driven Transformation of a Family-Run Business, the Nectar Story. I'm your host, Kat, and together with Steve, we're very happy to introduce and welcome our guest, Roderick Abela, the Managing Director at Nectar.
Thanks for the invite.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Auntie, thank you. Hopefully this isn't as scary as it seems from the outside. Roderick, to me, a family business is always an interesting one. And I think I'd like us to start from the position of understanding the story behind you taking over your father's business. And so maybe you could take us from there.
Yes. Once again, thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure being here. So, to give a bit of a background about Nectar, Nectar was founded in 1991. It was incorporated in 1991. For the first 6 years, the company was a partnership between our father, Charles, and another shareholder who held 50% of the business. So basically, Mario and I came into the business, my brother Mario and I came into the business in 1997.
Okay.
Between 1997 and 2010, when our father unfortunately passed away, literally we had built the business together, spent a lot of time together with our father. So as you can imagine, when our father passed away in 2010 at a young age of 57 years,
wow,
that was a big blow to the family. Our father, apart from being a father, was also our mentor, our best friend. And so while you're grieving his loss, you still had to take the reins of the business at that point. So I can assure you it wasn't
a nice introduction for you, absolutely.
Very, very tough moment.
Bombshell.
But before you pass through this experience, it's hard for you to know how you would be coping in such a situation. And I recall at that moment, a very specific saying. It's a Russian saying that the same hammer that shatters glass forges steel. And you say to yourself, I want to take this business forward. I can't. We owe it to our father. We can't leave this business. We needed to go forward. So basically, we started immediately working to make the transition between the first generation to a second generation. You have to earn the respect of people because our father was a highly respected person. Steve knows him very well. But I can say that during that moment, we had a lot of support and a lot of, people helped us, and while it was a very difficult moment, we didn't, so to say, get caught on one foot. We managed to do the transition quite well. We immediately had a vision for the business to grow.
Okay.
At that point, also, our younger brother Carlos joined the company a few months after our father passed away. So together, us three siblings, together with our sister also, we set ourselves a vision to grow.
Okay.
So for that, we needed a good team of people, of senior managers around us. So we started building the senior team around us. Most of these people were also people who we had promoted internally, so they already knew the company culture. And I can say that thankfully the story worked out quite well.
Most definitely.
I think that was key, that the recruitment of a key team around you.
Yeah,
right?
That's essential.
With a very clear focus of what they were trying to achieve. For me, looking at it from my famous
Of course,
helicopter.
your helicopter.
Yeah.
Excellent. And that's it. I mean, to me, this is you stepping into a massive role that you hadn't yet done before, in a time where there must have been this whirlwind of emotions, of grief, of challenge, of fear, because anyone stepping into those shoes would be scared as well. And I think also the responsibility of a son who wants to make this kind of, I think, when you get to that stage, you really want to owe it to the person who passed it on to you, because it is, in a sense, an element of privilege to be where you were.
100%.
So, wow, thank you for sharing that, because that must have really turned you into the man you are today in all those forms.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thanks.
So when I look at family businesses. I'm one of 5 kids, and it's as animated as it gets, I would say. I always wonder, how do you make it work? So you're 4 siblings. What do you think are the real key secrets of keeping harmony and running a successful family business together?
Definitely, as you explained it very well. It's not easy. I mean, when you're family, I mean, it's an asset, but it can also get tricky if not everyone is responsible. Let's say that. We're lucky
Very diplomatic, right?
we're lucky, I think, to have a united family, so to say. We've been working very well. I mean, we all have our different characters, but we've worked very well together. But we also realize that businesses, when passing from a generation to another, there's a risk. A lot of businesses fail when passing from a generation to another. So knowing that and wanting to guarantee a future for our business for this generation and the generations to come, first thing we did, also with the help of Steve, our financial advisors and our lawyers, of course, was to set a family business constitution. So this basically formalizes all the ongoings of the family, sets clear rules, sets boundaries, and all that is necessary in a family business so that you can clearly delineate all the responsibilities and try to avoid future conflicts.
Amazing.
And
To the future generation.
both for our generation and also for the next generation.
Of course.
So, and I think that was ultimately handled together, with Steve and all the support we had from external advisors. I think that was crucial. It also sent out a clear message, not only to the family, but also to our people as a Nectar family, so to say. So in the end, I think that was the right move to do, and it was a successful move.
Making it nice and clean, we're doing this well is what that passes on.
I think they made it very clear between themselves at the beginning who was accountable for what. So with clear roles. So it wasn't managed by committee, if you like, which is the risk that some family businesses have, where nobody really wants to sort of be the boss, or one person does, but actually he's not making or she's not making any decisions. In this case, it was clear who was doing what, and so whilst there are disagreements and people are not in agreement all the time, but they disagree even professionally. They do it properly.
Yes.
So,
okay.
And that's actually the beauty of it. When you don't agree on everything, basically you discuss, you delve deeper into things, and you challenge yourself. And
the respect is the underlying thing is, apart from the love of the family and being family, but there's the respect for each other because they've all got a job to do.
Yes, definitely. So it sounds like you got it right in understanding whose strengths were where, finding the right role for the right people. And then exactly the disagreements are purely role-based rather than emotionally intended. And I think that's where I would get it wrong with a family business, probably.
It requires a lot of responsibility from everyone's end. I mean, if it only takes one to ruin the whole thing. But as I said, we're lucky, I think, to have a united family, and whilst we have disagreements on points and discussions in this sense, we never had anyone who sought his personal interest before the business interest. So that's the most crucial.
I think that is another key part. Excellent. Okay. So looking at Nectar now as a successful organization, what do you think were the real drivers for the success of the organization?
Very good question. And on this point, I think we can talk the whole day, for hours. So, what if I had to squeeze them in a few points, so to say? One of the key things is that of trying to give a superior service to customers.
Okay.
This might seem obvious, I mean, because it's a critical thing for every business.
Should be the goal for everyone.
It should be the goal for everyone, but I believe that not many manage to attain this. And even more so, not many manage to attain this in the long term and keep consistency. I think when I look around us, maybe in Malta, I don't know whether it's abroad or the same thing, but what I see is that a lot of companies lack in consistency. And this is something that we, from our end, we try to, make it our mission to have not only provide a good service today, but keep doing it as much as possible forever. I mean, we're not perfect.
Okay.
But in the end, I think that
Do a good job at that.
Yeah. So consistency in the products, consistency
in the service.
Okay.
We are in the FMCG sector, so we're basically supplying our customers with products, and you need to ensure that our people visit our customers regularly, keep them fully stocked up, give them the after sales, not only just selling and then forgetting about the customer. So all these points, I believe, are really, really true.
They walk the talk on the customer service.
Important. Another important point, I believe, is empowering people. When you empower people, you eliminate all the bottlenecks. We have that kind of structure in our organization where we try and empower people and delegate as much as possible all the responsibilities. We don't want to have a bottleneck or try and create hurdles for growth. So that was something that we appreciated from the outset, I think, and we managed to do it quite well. We give the tools to our people to do their job, and also from their end they feel more motivated and more fulfilled in their job, and everyone can develop his talent inside the organization.
I think even when you were a lot smaller, whereas companies wouldn't invest until they got more employees. In your case, you invested in HR department very early.
In fact, the HR department was one of the first senior roles that we've done in the company after taking over. And our people are our main asset, so we can't not invest in them. We really believe. And
that was a crucial step, I think.
That was a very crucial step. We also invested in training for our people a lot along the years, also with the help of Mdina. And I believe this really was a critical factor in the results we have obtained.
I think this really adds value because from a family aspect, I think giving people that empowerment, that accountability, that they feel like they own the business with you is a huge point, I think, in making it more of everybody's business rather than just a family business. That sounds like to me a sensible...
And also tied to this, I love to quote a quote by an international leadership expert, Robin Sharma, who's most famous for his book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Basically, when you create a really good culture inside your company, competitors can copy your products and your services, but they can't clone your soul, basically. And that point really means a lot to us. In the environment of our company, we try to, as much as possible, create that kind of environment where there's that family environment where people feel supported in their journeys. And I believe this also, motivates people and lets them, roam freer to a certain extent, and they can really, feel fulfilled.
Yes. I can confirm that. I think from the outset of having worked with a few individuals at Nectar, you see that there is that ability to still play to their strengths, that ability to grow within the organization, and that drive that it's their business as well.
A sense of belonging. They have a big sense of belonging, I think.
Yes. For sure.
So talking about those points that are most critical for the business success. Another point that I really strongly believe about is another, again, by the same Robin Sharma, another thing that really drives my life's mission, so to say, both in the professional world and also in the personal realm, is this thing that the quote goes something like daily, small, seemingly insignificant improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to stunning results. And this I really, really believe, because a lot of people are like a bit more, not a lot of people, but some people are maybe a bit more sporadic. Maybe they have those large bursts of energy and huge motivation to do something, if possibly instantly, get an instant result, while the really good things come when you work hard every day, even at small improvements, as the saying goes. When done consistently over time, they really give results. Before I read this saying, basically when I read it in this book, I used to assimilate this to an irrigation system, the irrigation. So it's much better putting a few drops in the soil per day for every tree than drowning the tree one day and then forgetting it for 6 months, like I do also for my plant. So like having those little bit of effort on a daily basis, and I think this we managed to also implement also across the whole organization through various KPIs and daily targets and so on. And I believe if we had to really look back, this was one of the critical factors.
Okay, so now moving from the things that made it successful, again, hindsight is a magical thing. If we had it when we'd made those decisions, we'd be wiser. But
I've got a degree in it.
You've got a degree in that. If you had to look back, Roderick, what would you be doing differently starting over?
As Steve said, I mean, we've done many mistakes. We're all human and we've learned basically from our mistakes.
Of course.
So I think the most important thing out of all is to constantly learn from your mistakes. I wouldn't point to a singular regret that lingers on as a...
And I think that's healthy as well, to not be stuck in any regrets,
exactly.
to be honest.
But the key lessons, as you're saying, come from mistakes. So it's essential that you realize what mistakes you're doing and, of course, seek alternatives and solutions from that. So I believe intuition is really key in this aspect. Also, as an entrepreneur, intuition is really critical because you maybe would have done mistakes in investing in certain sectors, and then you realize that this wasn't, the investment to do. And it's important that you realize the mistake you've done, and you learn from it and move on. You could also look to other organizations who might have resolved certain challenges differently, and also learn from that. So I believe that that's the most key thing.
Yeah, learning quickly from when you've invested in the wrong thing, moving
Success comes from the failures.
That's
a good example of it. And they don't procrastinate.
I think that's it, letting go and moving on quickly
just make
from
decisions. They just keep making Are we going to get them all right? No, they don't.
No.
But it's the ones you get wrong that you learn from.
Excellent. Okay. And for anyone running a family business out there who's listening to this podcast, what would your guidance be on really making it successful?
I believe, first of all, creating a great corporate culture. We have already alluded to it before. That's, I think, critical. That's something unique, like DNA of the company. So you must have your mark on that. It continues to distinguish you, throughout the history of your business. That's one critical point. I think also another point where most family businesses maybe fail is to try and have a strategic mindset. I believe that a lot of Maltese businesses, maybe even those that are maybe smaller, fall into the trap of handling the day-to-day chores.
Feeling small and acting small is what
you feel
saying.
You feel like you're letting your business down if you don't tackle hands-on every challenge that the business faces. So that, I believe, is wrong. So I personally guard my focus and my attention to the big picture in a highly rigorous way, so to say. I believe that detaching from the day-to-day. Also, this brings to mind Steve's helicopter that he taught us very early in the days when we started together. You have to basically land when it's needed and tackle and firefight all the issues on the ground when necessary, but you must make sure that you don't get caught up there and never flying again on top. I mean, even knowing it consciously, this still remains a perpetual challenge. I mean, it doesn't, simply make a decision and you resolve it. You have to keep guarding against this. But I think having a strategic mindset is another essential and critical thing.
And I think adding on to that, which they do very well as well, is that it's for a family business to agree on the values.
Okay. Yeah,
because if they're out of sync, this is where the problems would start, especially with a family. I mean, it's important, I think, for any business, but for a family business, if those values are out of line, out of sync, there's the foundation for some challenges.
And in my opinion, that makes a lot of sense, because what you did by naming them is that you don't leave the values assumed to everybody else, that it's just part of the family culture, but they are spread throughout the business. So that's excellent. Now, I think something else that I'm noticing from your story that you did well is you moved away from the brand being your father to really building the Nectar brand. What role does the Nectar brand really play because bringing on the right wide profile of successful customers is not easy, and consumer brands more than anything in your industry. What do you think the role of the brand is in bringing them forward?
No, also a very good question. Being a distributor of FMCG goods, maybe the main focus would be on the end consumer brands that we distribute. And that's important, because consumers recognize the brands and they connect with them. But as a distributor, of course, we are supplying B2B customers. So we're supplying retailers and HoReCa customers. And I think the Nectar name brand gives a sign of like a stamp of trust and credibility and consistency again.
I love how that's a theme, consistency.
That's a key. A consistency theme. I believe this is really important, and we also got a clear demonstration of it in the history of our company, which was kind of also a positive surprise to us. One of the companies we had acquired back in 2003, 20 years ago, we kept it as a separate entity. We thought having it run separately in the market might prove to present some advantages, like having more focus. So we kept the portfolios of products they represent separately. But we kept it also under the brand name of the same company that we acquired, which was Sweetos back then. And this ran like this for around 6 years. At one point, also due to operational efficiencies and so on, we decided to merge all our operations under one company, and we merged Sweetos into Nectar. And our people went out there with the Nectar brand, with Nectar uniforms, with the Nectar tablet systems and so on. And we were positively shocked what an impact this had. So nothing else changed, only the outer visual image. And our customers knew that the other company was a sister company to Nectar. But still, when our people went out to represent the brands under the name of Nectar, we saw a tremendous uplift in sales.
Confidence in the brand.
So I believe that the brand
has a lot of weight. For sure, for sure. Now, Roderick, you wear two hats. You wear the hat, obviously, of the managing director, but also of a key shareholder. How do you manage to switch between these two hats?
Again, Steve helped us a lot in this respect, because it's easy to entangle both roles, and you might have, even though the business ultimately is there to make success, and ultimately the success of the business is also the success of the shareholders, but there might be instances of like a conflict between a shareholder's request and an operational maybe necessity. So it's very, very important to delineate and make like a clear cut between when making those operational decisions and making decisions that ultimately are
wearing the right hat at the right time.
Wearing the right hat. Again, ultimately, I think the key is open communication with the board, and also the fact that we have external advisors on the board. That
keeps you
also keeps you accountable. It also like you have other fresh pair of eyes looking at you to monitor what you're doing, and I believe this all helps to clearly draw those lines. Exactly.
Excellent. Okay.
I think that was another key move, which were having external non-exec directors on their board. So
Definitely.
I would advise
Any family business to do that. Okay. Now, coming towards the end of today's podcast, I think my curiosity is kind of what's next for Nectar and what's next for the Abela family.
Well, after a very
house.
yeah, that's one point. I think after a period of steep growth, now is the time to consolidate a bit. So yeah, the cycle of the company goes through cycles of growth and then cycles of consolidation. I believe now is the moment to consolidate again. However, we have a lot of exciting projects.
It seems to be the curiosity.
We're still raring to go, because consolidation might look a bit like maybe stagnation or taking a step back, but it's also crucial and very, very important. You can't grow forever without stopping and having a look around you and see how you can optimize processes, especially when you've grown so fast. And we've basically, in 14 years, we've quadrupled our turnover and almost tripled our workforce. So you need to take some step backs, take stock of the situation. Nonetheless, again, as I said, we have a lot of exciting projects on the horizon. We intend to invest also in our operations to make them more efficient. So we're looking at robotics, automation, and such kind of things to also improve our customer experience. So as an agile company and always challenging status quo, I can assure you that we'll remain always like that.
I think so. And having seen your brain, I feel like you will always be asking the question of what's next now.
You have the privilege of knowing what's inside.
What's in your PRISM report.
Through the PRISM report, which is, by the way, an excellent tool that we really believe into. So, I mean, we're excited on the future, so stay tuned to see
what's
that's
next.
Coming.
Excellent. I think this is a brilliant note to close off on. So, Roderick, thank you for being here and thank you for sharing this, because to me, you've really given us a view of businesses we don't often see, even though obviously Mdina has supported you for years and we see it through the work we're doing. I think for the outside world, there is so much more that is required when you're building a successful family business. So thank you for that insight. And thank you to whoever is listening to us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode and we hope to see you for the next episode next month. If you have enjoyed us, please stay subscribed. We really believe that the journey to success is better when shared. Until next time, thank you and take care.